Let's talk about Kawhi Leonard. So it was announced about an hour ago that Kawhi Leonard is out. Kawhi Leonard is out for a pivotal Game 3 at home. It's 1-1. Here we go. Shout out to NBA Central. It's the legit one. Breaking Kawhi Leonard is out tonight due to a knee sprain. And at surface value, it's like, okay, I mean, he's injured. Can't play. Surface in a vacuum, it's forgivable. Even in this case, if bro can't play, I ain't gonna force you to play. But the conversation I do want to have is how we perceive certain players, how we rank certain players, and how we hold certain players to different standards. Because Kawhi Leonard, this is like textbook, bro. This is exactly what everyone has been talking about. Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, a dog. All right. Most people would have him, even now after all his injuries, as a top 10 player. And specifically in the first 2 games of this series, he literally showed us and reminded everyone why, bro, a couple years back, was in the same conversations with a Giannis, an MVP Giannis at that. With the MVP Giannis, KD with more pep in his step, a prime Steph Curry, a LeBron James, you know what I'm saying? After the 2019 NBA Finals, bro, he was in best player in the world conversation. Like, that's how good Kawhi Leonard was. And the first 2 games of this series, he's definitely reminded people why he gets that standard, right? I think the same thing with Anthony Davis. I think the same thing with Kyrie. Like, these are players that when they are healthy, one of the most talented players in the league, top 15 talents in the case of AD and Kawhi. Heck, even with, depending on how you look at Kyrie, top 10 talents in the world. But at some point, Zion as well. But at some point, bro, availability, at some point, availability needs to matter in these conversations. Availability needs to matter in these conversations. I didn't feed him. But yeah, availability needs to matter in these conversations, bro. Like, I would personally rather get a player who's 80% of Kawhi Leonard, but will play 40% more games than just Kawhi Leonard as is. I think when building a team, especially the thing that kills me too, is this isn't like a role player. This isn't even your second best. This is your franchise star, bro. This is a person you have allocated a lot of assets to building around his player and his play style, and his abilities, right? When you take that into fact, like this isn't just Luke Cornett being injury prone. You know what I'm saying? This isn't even on the same team Norman Powell being injury prone. This is Kawhi fucking Leonard, bro. This is Kawhi Leonard. Same thing with Paul George. We can have those conversations as well. So with that being said, I don't even want to say this player is better than this player, but I do want to commend the players who stay healthy and play games. The first person that comes to mind, shout out to a motherfucker like Derek White, bro. Shout out to Derek White. Because I believe this season, Derek White has played all 82 games. All 82 games. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to these dudes, man. Shout out to a dude like Mikal Bridges. I see y'all naming him in the chat. Shout out to a dude like Mikal Bridges who played 83 games. Shout out to Mikal. Players that show up to work. You know what I'm saying? And perform. Because these aren't just bums. Mikal Bridges, in a 27-game sample size, was averaging 26. Unlike, I ain't gonna lie, KD-esque efficiency. You know what I'm saying? Kawhi-esque. I don't know about KD-esque. Kawhi-esque efficiency. You know what I'm saying? And Derek White, let's go back to Derek White. Derek White is not a bum, bruh. Derek White, I believe he made all defensive team this year. And in my opinion, he is clear cut at this point our third best player. Like, if you look at these numbers, again, it's 2 games. Atlanta's defense is not like that. But for Derek White to even have the ability to average 25, 5, and 6 and 3 blocks a game on this efficiency, like, that shit is crazy, bro. That shit is crazy. So I want to not even criticize and just, criticize the players who are injured. If anything, I just want to give respect to the players who don't get injured and show up for work. You know what I'm saying? Chad saying Kevon Looney. I believe he's another one of those players that has been known for being like a healthy player and just a reliable player. Kevon, like the players like this, bro. I think Jalen Brunson is another one. Jalen Brunson, okay, 68, not the highest. But I just have more respect for players that play a high amount of games now, man. High amount of games. Just show up for work. Because I saw a stat. They were talking about how, like, this year, and I need to look at the stats for the last couple of years. But they were talking about how the average number of games played for an all-star this year was like 62, bro. 62 is crazy. And they were also talking about how in 03, chat saying 65. In 03, it was like 72. 72, 73. And I don't know, man. When we talk about the issues in this league, there's a lot. There's a lot of issues. And maybe I have overlooked load management. I ain't gonna lie. I think a lot of these teams, they don't just go outright and say, I don't know, Jaylen Brown is out for load management issues. I feel like a lot of these teams deadass just come up with injuries. They may even plan within the game, at this point, just try to get a off at some point in the game so he can rest a couple nights. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, the injury shit, the injury and the load management shit, that shit is interesting, and it's tough, bro. It's tough. I think it's a reason. I do think it's a reason, and the cause of it, that might be the better word. The cause of it, money number one, and 2, ring culture. And the legacy talks and etc. And that's why I say, like, when players go out and say that they don't care about what NBA Twitter has to say, that's cap. Because NBA Twitter, while technically it's like it's not all NBA fans, it does speak for a lot of the narratives that fans around the world are saying. And to act like these players and, management, these teams don't have legacies, don't have pride, don't have ego that they want to protect and they want to flex, that shit is cap, bro. That shit is cap. And it does bring up an interesting conversation regarding the minimum number of games to win an MVP and all these awards. Because for those who don't know, I believe in a couple weeks ago, like, they announced in the new CBA, like, players are gonna need to play 65 games to qualify for, I don't know if it's the main, like, trophy awards or even all NBA teams, but 65 games is the minimum. And in practice, it's like, okay, it's gonna force motherfuckers to play at least 65 games. But also, it might be a case where a lot of people try to, play the line. They try to play the line. And on that 65th game, just, somehow for a lot of these players, the 65th game is going to be on game 78. Like, all right, bro. Okay. You're telling me out of all these 20 to 35 players who are qualified to be an all-star and an all-NBA player, Out of those players, 80% of them, their 65th game is going to land on the team's 78th game of the season. Like, what's up with you, bro? I don't know, man. I don't know. A lot of this shit is scummy. And I can just, all I can do at this point is hope and pray that NBA players and management don't abuse that rule. Don't abuse that rule, man. The fries are cool. They're cold at this point, though. It does bring me, just randomly. This shit is just funny because I remember in the 2018 MVP, the 2018 NBA season, the MVP race of that season, there was so much hoopla about LeBron James playing 10 more games than James Harden when James Harden played 72 games. And I'm looking at it, right now, and this is funny because just 5 years later, LeBron playing 82 games sounds crazy, number one. And two, James Harden getting criticized for playing 72 sounds even crazier. Because back then, it was such a crazy goalpost move argument that no one ever made. But now, specifically, motherfuckers look dumb, bro. Motherfuckers look dumb.